50% of the people die within the first day.
Plus, see a town brought to its knees.
Our house is gone.
As a planned burn goes horribly wrong.
It was our worst nightmare.
Watch Storm Stories on the Weather Channel tomorrow at 8 Eastern and Pacific.
What are you doing?
Got an audition for a big show in New York.
When?
Now.
Where?
In New York.
Vanessa, we're in L.A.
Miss Williams, your Comcast high-speed internet webcast is ready.
Wish me luck.
RCA cable modem for $79.99 plus $80 Radio Shack mail-in rebate with new Comcast internet service.
Okay, thanks. Bye. I wish they were all that easy.
Visit your local Radio Shack for special introductory service offers. Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers.
I'll never forget hearing the news that all 3 anthrax letters had passed through our postal facility here in Hamilton.
State officials did nothing but tell postal workers to call their doctor.
I was stunned. You can't tell 1,000 people on a Friday evening that they've been exposed to anthrax and then expect them to wait until they can get a hold of their doctor.
Mayor Glenn Gilmore immediately ordered enough Cipro to treat every postal worker. The New York Times called him a national hero. We have a mayor we can be proud of.
It's 10 minutes to the top of the hour. Time to take a look at our tropical update. And as we do so, you'll find that we now have our 13th named storm in the Atlantic Basin. Let's start off taking a look at our satellite imagery, and you'll find that it seems like things are very quiet around the eastern areas, as we do have a very strong trough right now, continuing to keep things very quiet for us. And that's a good thing. Maybe a few thunderstorms that do roll off the African coast right around Cape Verde, but if they do, they're getting caught by a lot of shearing, so we're not anticipating on some development here. So it's very quiet, big trough set up right in here, but then you get to Puerto Rico, and if you remember just last night, I was talking about the possibility of this wave being a tropical disturbance, maybe even depression, or maybe even a storm. And guess what? Well, hurricane hunters flew in and they found winds gusting at 45 miles per hour. So that certainly made it a tropical storm. It's Mindy if you're keeping track of the names, and if you're keeping track of locations, at 20.2 north, 69.8 west. It is moving right now to the northwest at 13 miles per hour. As I mentioned, it has winds up to 45 miles per hour. And boy, it has just brought so much rain here across Puerto Rico over the last 12 to 24 hours. In the higher terrain areas, some places received 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, and for the next, say, 12 to 24 hours, now we need to focus in on that possibility of more flooding with runoff. So this is still not over yet for you folks here across Puerto Rico. But it's all beginning now as it's making its way north of Puerto Rico and in towards the Caicos and the southern Bahamas. You can find that there's some very deep convection with this around the southeastern side, but this is going to continue, as I mentioned, to move towards the northwest. And as a result of that, we are looking at some tropical storm warnings for the Turks and Caicos and the southern areas of the Bahamas. We could be dealing with some tropical storm winds, such as 45-mile-per-hour gusts, as right now as it's strong enough to do so. But here's what we're dealing with. Tropical storm Mindy will continue to sit here near the Turks and the Caicos, at least for the next 12 to 24 hours. And then a mid-latitude storm will move east. As it does so, it's going to help to steer Mindy away from the U.S. This is the expected projected path. Let's zoom in on that, and you'll see it takes that northerly track and then, boom, off towards the northeast. But you see this little dot? It's not a little scratch or a little piece of paper that you're seeing. This is Bermuda, and now it could be in the path here of Mindy. And the concern here will be rain, heavy rain, and possibly some windy conditions. But that's also going to be the concern here around the southern Bahama area, as well as that possibility of those gusty winds around the Turks and the Caicos. As you take a look at the rest of the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico, things remain very quiet here and fairly quiet too around the eastern Pacific. We'll be right back.
There's more from the Weather Channel at
Mindy, what's the latest regarding that system?
Well, there's good news to be said about it. The good news is the rain is over in Puerto Rico, although the flood potential is not. Let's look at the latest information from the Hurricane Center. I'll show you where it is and then down the road where it's going. Winds 45 miles per hour. It's moving to the north-northwest at 13. There you see the symbol there is a tropical storm symbol. And it's basically 40 miles northeast of Grand Turk Island and moving away from that island. And that is good news. Now we do, when we look at a closer view of it, see very heavy rain, but most of that rain is well to the northeast of any of the islands. And if you're heading toward the Bahamas, most of your destinations are absolutely fine today with winds very light and sunny weather as well. So we're in pretty good shape there. And finally, I just want to mention the heavy rain in Puerto Rico has ended, although some afternoon showers are possible. But over here in Mayagüez on the west coast, there's river flooding. There's a flood warning up. So watch out for flooding along the rivers and streams, even though that rainfall has ended. It usually takes a while for that water to run off. Bob and Cheryl?
Well, Dr. Lyons, regarding Mindy, where is that tropical storm headed?
Well, the good news is it's not heading toward the United States, we don't think. We look at the upper level water vapor image, we can see here's the circulation over here. Notice all these west winds at the front pushing off the coast. There's a low pressure center off to the north of North Carolina. So this band of showers is pretty much going to mimic where it's going to go, to the north and then northeast, and we can see that on our projected path. The only thing in its path right now is this little gnat on our swath. That is Bermuda. And the question here is whether or not it's going to go to the north or to the south of Bermuda. If it goes to the south, impact will be rather minor because the circulation is very small and all the winds are on the east side. If it goes to the north, you get a little stronger blast because we do think it's going to intensify a little bit here before it zooms off to the northeast, becoming extratropical as it moves by Bermuda. Bob, Cheryl?
Dr. Lyons, is there anything brewing right now in the eastern Pacific?
Well, the good news there is it's quieting down as well. If we can look at the satellite imagery and show you that typically this time of year we're dwindling very quickly in developing any tropical cyclones, and that's surely the case today. Everything is overland. Our surface trough of low pressure remains overland. So we'll see some showers near Mexico City, but relative to the Mexican Riviera and offshore, good news there. Just some high waves coming into Baja California and Southern California from the northwest.
All right, thanks a lot, Dr. Steve Lyons.
Coming up on Weekend Outlook, your Storm Watch.
And later on Weekend Planner.
After girl, steak every steak. Hup, hup. After girl, steak every steak. Give me a wave, Chris. Give me a wave, Chris. Wave, 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 wave. There you go. Good girl.
There's more from the Weather Channel at weather.com. More travel updates. More golf features. More forecasts. At work or whenever you're on the web. Get more at weather.com or AOL keyword weather.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station.
Hi, I'm John Scherer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. Well, I'm the one that makes computer learning quick and easy with these CD-ROM lessons from Video Professor. You know, I've always said that if I could just get a room full of people to sit down and try my product, they'd be so impressed. They'd never bother with expensive classes again or these big, thick, confusing manuals. You know, when I developed our first learning lesson 14 years ago, the goal was very simple. It was to make the lessons quick, easy, and most of all, simple for anyone to learn with. The CD plays like a video on your computer screen. Just follow the on-screen instruction. If you need to see something again, rewind it. If you need to take a break, pause it. It's so simple. Here, look at all these options you can choose in any computer program. Now, you could try to find out what those commands do with this book, or you can just follow along with our CD as we show you step by step what they do. For instance, I'll get you started on computers with my Learning Windows CD. My Internet CD will show you how to surf the web and send and receive email. Use my Word CD to create great-looking documents, or try my Quicken tutorial to put your finances in order. I'm so sure my product will work for you. I want you to try one of my lessons for free, because I know that once you do, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. You just pay a small shipping and processing charge. You will positively learn to operate your computer using my foolproof learning method, or I'm going to even refund your shipping and processing. So if you want to learn to operate your computer once and for all, save yourself a lot of time and energy, try my product.
Call Video Professor now for your free lesson. Choose from Windows, Word, Quicken, the Internet, and many more. Call now and this free gift will be yours. The Anytime Organizer is the calendar, diary, address book, and journal on your PC, so you'll never miss it.
Welcome to your tropical update. Cheryl will have storm watch in a moment. As we start off with climatology, just know that the last major hurricane to hit the U.S. after this date was Hurricane Hazel back in 1954, sometime back. We're just a little past that peak. We're not a little, we're well past the peak, but still in an area of orange in October. So we're approaching a time when the chances for major hurricanes become less and less. So that's the point as we look at our graphic. We're well into October, at least several days into October. Here's a check of what's going on in terms of Puerto Rico, where you had heavy rain yesterday, still some flood warnings in effect for western Puerto Rico. We're eyeballing Tropical Storm Mindy. I'll give you the specifics in a moment, but that's about the only game in town right now. We're looking at a weakness across the ITCZ, the Intertropical Convergence Zone, but again, as the season grows older and older, the chances for development become less, but not insignificant. Still a chance for sure. 40-mile-per-hour winds. It's weakening Tropical Storm Mindy. You can see it's 60 miles north-northwest of Grand Turk Island, moving toward the northwest at 14, and that will be the general track before moving northward. Now here's a look at Tropical Storm Mindy. It has an exposed vortex, in other words, a central circulation in the southwestern part of this area of rain, so it's weakening. It's undergoing southwesterly winds or shear, so it's losing the battle with the shear as it moves toward the northwest. So we are looking at moving away from Puerto Rico, where the rains have generally stopped. So that's some great news after the heavy deluges yesterday. And as this moves toward the north, it'd be better if this moved north of Bermuda instead of south. The southern moving south would be a little more impact, but it's not going to impact Bermuda in a major way in any event. No advisories as of this time. That's been changed. But notice the projected path, taking it first toward the north after this northwesterly trajectory, then out to sea toward the northeast. So that's some great news. And watching a non-tropical low across the Gulf Coast, but the eastern Pacific looking quiet. And now here's Cheryl.
Well, so far, no severe weather warnings in effect, but that could be changing over time. Now, today, there will be a chance for a few thunderstorms popping up, especially across the Midwest, portions of Texas, and also around the Gulf Coast, especially around the Florida Panhandle. Looks as if you'll be fair game to see perhaps a few strong thunderstorms today. Also, too, be mindful of the fact that these showers and storms across Texas could be dumping locally heavy amounts of rainfall. That could prompt some flooding, so flash flood watches remain in effect. We also have a front right now, as we were mentioning, cutting a path across the Midwest, setting off the showers and storms. Another low-pressure system for the southeast, bringing some very wet conditions. And a new storm system comes on board for the Pacific Northwest, promising more rain for both today and tomorrow.
You know what's coming up in weekend now? We'll tell you where the Weather Channel road crew will be tomorrow.
Plus, we'll tell you where some people are searching for the perfect pumpkin. This is a story you don't want to miss. Stay with us.
That's okay. Go word.
There's more from the Weather Channel at weather.com. More travel updates. More golf features. More forecasts. At work or whenever you're on the web. Get more at weather.com or AOL keyword weather.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station.
Here in the jungle, trucks have evolved into many forms. Take Mitsubishi Fuso trucks. They fill many ecological niches, like refrigerated transport, general delivery, concrete mixers, and the newly evolved crew cab. Isn't it marvelous? Search out a dependable Mitsubishi Fuso truck for your business. Remember, it's a jungle out there.
See your local dealer today for a great selection of reliable Mitsubishi Fuso trucks.
Pepperidge Farm breads. Rich, soft loaves. Baked up big. With a fresh from the oven taste that really brings a sandwich together. Pepperidge Farm breads. Never have an ordinary day.
When you contact a RE/MAX agent to help you buy or sell a home, you expect service that's a little out of the ordinary. After all, RE/MAX agents average more experience and more sales than other agents. So the next time you need outstanding real estate service, call RE/MAX and watch us spring into action.
Expect fair skies on Monday and Tuesday.
And on Wednesday, expect a chance of rain.
Welcome back to PM Edition. It's 10 minutes before the hour, and that means it's time for your tropical update. We're starting off in the Atlantic. Believe it or not, we have another tropical storm out there. The broad view is kind of hard to see. Look just north of Puerto Rico, but we saw some flooding rains in Puerto Rico yesterday, even this morning, some flooding rains, but minimal wave action from this tropical storm named Mindy right now. We've got the tropics gearing down for tropical weather season, so this Mindy having a tough time really making it. A better view shows Mindy just approaching the Bahamas, but we will see Mindy get stuck in an upper level trough. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You can see some of the brighter white clouds. That's where we're seeing the polar jet. And here's your trough. So what's going to happen is we've got Mindy moving in, getting stuck in your polar jet, and pulled out to sea. So really, Mindy, no threat to the United States at all. The Bermuda Islands, unfortunately, we are looking at a threat for Bermuda. Right now, winds 40 miles per hour, making Mindy a very minimal tropical storm. North-northwest movement at 12 miles per hour, and 760 miles southwest of Bermuda. Now, another view of Mindy really shows what's going on. Now, the center of Mindy currently right around the Turks and the Caicos, but you can see the area of mass convection, or most of your thunderstorms are well north the Turks and Caicos, and that means some upper level shear. So we really don't expect to see Mindy to strengthen, at least not too much, over the next couple of days. If we do see Mindy hit Bermuda, it's going to be a minimal tropical storm at that. And here's that projected path. As Mindy starts to veer off to the northeast, we will see it take a move a little faster. So by Monday morning, we could be seeing some effects of Mindy, maybe 15-foot high swells out there in Bermuda. But then by Tuesday, Mindy really moves out of the picture altogether. Gulf Coast pretty quiet, at least for the tropics. We've got another storm that we're keeping an eye on. It's not really even a storm. We're going to call it an upper level low, but we're seeing no real tropical effects from this. And of course, Gulf of Mexico, very quiet right now. Unfortunately, we can't say that about the rest of the U.S. Ebony's got the storm report.
Well, if you're heading out tonight, I'm sure many of you are wanting to know where storms could impact those evening plans, and it looks like mainly across central and southern Florida, so around the Orlando area, Tampa, and even around Daytona Beach, southward into Miami, a few storms for you. And it looks like we'll also see more storms rumbling throughout parts of Texas. And along with these storms, we could see some pretty heavy rainfall, as we have seen over the last 24 hours. Plenty of deep tropical moisture pulling in over the Lone Star State, and that's helped to give way to showers and thunderstorms over much of south central Texas. And with more rain tonight, well, flood watches have been posted, so definitely be very careful. Here you'll need to watch out for localized areas of flooding, mainly around Del Rio and places just to the north of Del Rio as well. Number of flash flood warnings in effect tonight across the western half of south central Texas. And again, as far as the thunderstorm activity that we're seeing now, well, just a few lightning strikes just to the east of El Paso, and of course down towards Del Rio we're also seeing the storms. Well, let's check out some of the rain that we've received within the last 30 hours. Del Rio up to 3 inches of rainfall. Mitchell, South Dakota up to about 1 inch, 0.29, and just close, well, over an inch in Omaha. So the rain has really been coming down throughout the central part of the nation. And again, here's a quick look at the flood watches that remain in effect. Not only are we dealing with rain, but as a cold front pushes across the upper Midwest, we're also dealing with very windy conditions. So winds are also a concern. Watch out as you're traveling through the Dakotas and Minnesota tonight. Those winds are going to pick up at about 10 to 20, even 30 miles per hour at times.
And there's much more to come on the second hour of PM Edition. We'll take a look ahead to your work week and beyond in the Weekly Planner.
Well, stay with us. We'll be back after your local on the 8th.
This program was brought to you by Gateway, a better way.